lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Yeah. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame, show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up, it's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, nothing can keep me from reaching the top. This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride. I'm ready to throw down, it's time for the showdown. I'm ready to rise, don't be surprised, I'll take on the world now. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. My town, my crown, we know what it takes to be reaching the top. We're reaching the top, we're reaching the top. We know what it takes to be reaching the top. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'm never gon' back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, none of you people can tell me to stop.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Round 5, and now we head to a place which many consider one of the great circuits. It doesn't need elevation change. It doesn't need much to distinguish, to highlight what it is. It's been one of the older tracks in the world, and when it comes with age, tracks like these come with heritage. And it's that heritage today that drivers will be looking at, because it's a mixture of the old and the new. We are at Silverstone here today, but not for a full Grand Prix layout. In your iRacing Monday Night V8, we zoom in on Towcester, Northamptonshire, England right now. Here you can see this is where the circuit is going to prop up. It's pretty much equidistant between London and Birmingham at the moment, so that's going to be very, very good for communication, or commuting, sorry, I should say, through the area. And there you can see the track, and we'll be running on this southern layout that we've got here today. It's a fantastic little track. You go through Abbey, through Farm to the Village, the Loop, and then Chapel, down the Hangar Straight for the second half to Stowe, the Vale, and then Club Corner at turn number 9. It's a fantastic run through this place. It's going to be one here on the iRacing Esports Network, brought to you by SimSpeed TV. That is worth watching here today. I'm Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Nick Skarajev. And Nick, this is going to be a close-fought contest because this track is built almost like a velodrome in some respect. Always about staying close.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jake. Built like a velodrome, almost as short as a velodrome as well. So it's just over just on that 3 kilometer mark. So we've got really, really quick lap times. We have that pit entry, which comes into the track a little bit early too. So it doesn't really eject cars out the back when you go for those pits. So I'm expecting some really tight racing there.
And that tight racing is going to be something worth keeping in mind here today, as we are currently in qualifying at the moment. They get 8 minutes or 2 laps to set those times, and Jordan Caruso, for the second consecutive week, puts himself on pole position at the moment. Only driver breaking the 104 barrier margin on a 103.9, is ahead of both Jake Maloney and Madison Down in the Trans-Tasman machines. Adam Briggs currently in 4th, and Brady Myers rounding out the top 5 as things stand at the moment. In terms of vehicles on track, we don't see much, but at the moment, let's take a look at the championship as things stand. And this is without drop weeks. There will be 4 in this season. It's a longer 13-week season to the traditional 12. Of course, iRacing wanting to move their week 13 a little bit further back for development to not mess about with the months. But Jake Burton currently scoring himself 180 points clear of Adam Briggs in 2nd and Corey Shepherd in 3rd. Jake Maloney currently in 4th with Steve Yatz in 5th. They got the likes of Brian Borg, Damian Johnstone, Jack Widders, Darren Lobb, and Kyle George rounding the top 10 at the moment. But it is worth keeping in mind here right now, Nick, that some drivers will have lower points because they haven't attended all the races so far this season, most notably Madison Down.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jake. And also running my eyes through that top 10 list as well. Also seeing a few people not here tonight. So yeah, I do expect to see these points will be shaken up still a little bit more.
Absolutely, and it is worth talking about how the championship leader is not here today. So Jake Burton will be watching on from the sidelines, hoping that the result is going to be there. This is Thomas Hinds on screen right now in the Ratu Mustang, heading through Stowe Corner, one of the prime places today to find an overtake, and then back down the hill. There's the pits on the right-hand side, and that's going to be a very, very tough pit entry to get right, not because of how difficult it is to hit the brakes and slow down, but more rather the fact that the cars behind you are going to be barreling into an incredibly slow pit lane here because of the fact of that line, which comes up incredibly early as Thomas Hinds jumps to 10th place with his qualifying time of a 104.298 as he got himself over the line. But that's going to be something very crucial to talk about. That pit entry is slow. Drivers will need to be careful on who they pit with if they have a gap, as qualifying is all but complete at this stage. So what we can do is get up for you on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen, how everything has stacked in qualifying. Jordan Caruso then on pole position, only driver in the 103s, with Jake Maloney alongside him in 2nd. Following that is Madison Down and Adam Briggs on the 2nd row, with Brady Myers and Corey Shepherd on row number 3. Philip Worley, great qualifying from him. He's up in 7th position with Andrew Dyson in 8th place, with Damian Johnstone 9th and Thomas Hinds in 10th.
Just outside the top 10, we've got Blake Purdy and Mitchell Bolton on row 6, Clint Shane Smith and Cole George on row 7, Steve Jansen and Brad Newman, Tom Freer, Thomas McClellan, Corey Preston and Jack Widders rounding out the top 20.
And it's worth noting that half a second splits the top 20 drivers. Kenneth Latter starts 21st with Michael Rosenblatt in 22nd. Then you've got Kurt Stenberg and Josh Morris on row 12. Row 13 consists of Brian Borg and Guy Leach, which is a fantastic little pairing on row 13. Henri Michaela got himself involved last week. He starts 27th with Daniel Hetterscheid in the 111 car in 28th. Darren Lobb starts in 29th with Christian Smart in 30th position, rounding out the grid, as every driver has themselves 2 minutes to put themselves up on that starting grid, or they have that choice of starting this one from pit lane, and that's going to be worth just keeping in mind as drivers will be looking to try and get themselves ready. Track temperature 41 degrees, quite hot. Going to be a tough little race here, 118 kilometers here today, so they've got a lot of work to do, but this is one of the few tracks where you can save a little bit of fuel more than other places. So we welcome you to this broadcast by SimSpeed TV, and if you haven't already, like, share and subscribe. The iRacing Esports Network. The green flag coming up, and there's the go, and it's a good start there from Caruso. Maloney's going to try and chase here into the very, very tough turn number 1 as they go on through, all nice and calm then for the moment as they all fly on by, but really not many dramas to speak of here in this field, and Brady Myers seemingly getting the best start of anyone as they all funnel on in to the right, and look at that swarm of DPR cars around Corey Shepherd.
Yeah, that's right. So DPR having another big showing tonight. They always seem to be right in that right place at the right time, and yeah, showing some really consistent results. As we look back... Oh, sorry, Jake.
It's absolutely fine. We can see there how Shepherd just had to back off there coming out of the turn 5 Chapel corner. Sometimes it's been collectively known as Ireland, but there down the inside trying to get the move is Philip Worley, and he's going to try and force on the outside here and get this one done. Yes, up into 7th position. Now Thomas Hinds immediately sensing an opportunity. You don't get time to breathe around this place. This is sort of like your Darwin in a certain sense, where you have to be on it aggressively early as you go on through. And there you can see Damien Johnstone now trying to get in on the mix, trying to find a way to get through. But again, nothing. Oh, contact Janssen, and around goes one of the One Performance cars in the background as well. Big issues there, down in the middle to late of the pack.
Yeah, Steve Janssen very quick to pick it back up again, and looks like we've just had contact again with Brad Newman and potentially another car. We might have to grab a replay of that when we get the chance. Yeah, super unfortunate. We're seeing a few cars already with a few banged up panels there as we catch a motor simulation replay.
It's so rare to see contact on the front stretch. You can see Newman here as they go through, and oh, that is the Exto Gaming car. That might be Kenneth Latter there, who got himself involved in terms of that little scrap. Maybe Corey Preston. So, oh, there's the second impact, and that was heavy as Kyle George went for a gap. They're down on the inside. So, big incident. Let's take a look at it from George's perspective. Sees that everyone's scattering in front. We'll get notification, oh, something's happened, has to go to the inside and commits late, and well, Newman's trying to get out of the way of everyone, being at a slower speed there, Nick, but Kyle George just barreled into the corner.
Yeah, Kyle George, the unlucky victim in that. You could see him absolutely probably one of the quickest parts of the track as well. So yeah, Darren Newman right in the way of where you wouldn't want him to be.
Exactly, and that was going to be always a sore point of contention on that one. Already on lap 3 of 40 here as Brady Myers has mirrors full of Adam Briggs heading down the hill through this right-hander, and it's very tough, that corner. You've got that little bit of curve painted on down there at the exit of Chapel Corner, which always makes life a little bit tougher. Everyone in a pack at the moment. Caruso has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Maloney and Down staying with, but it's really this front 5 at the moment that's keeping in range, and really it is Adam Briggs who's now starting to really turn up the heat right now this year, the same way that an Andrew Gilliam and a Jordan Ross did last year.
Yeah, just catching them come onto the straight now, so everyone's still in pretty tight together. It does look like that top 5 have pulled just that half a second gap from the rest of the pack, so they can work together. It's not really a track where you can kind of just sit in and get that toe. You're constantly having that car rotated.
Here's Christian Smart having to lift out of things, trying to get by Thomas McMillan, but can't find a way. Brady Myers goes purple, and there's Clint Shane Smith on the recovery down the inside and picking up the place without too many worries. Tom Freer just behind that, as well as Daniel Hetterscheid, who you definitely cannot miss in that 111 Esports livery. Look how Christian Smart has to attack coming into the village corner, colloquially also known as the arena section of the circuit, but down the hill through that right-hander. That's the only real elevation change that this track tends to have as they now head towards the lowest part of the circuit. Again, drivers close as they head towards turn number 8 out on track. But again, drivers not wanting to risk their races early on here, lap 4 of 40. Happy just to sit and wait and see how things develop.
Yeah, that's it. It is quite wide, so there is a few opportunities to get a pass in, but yeah, you're definitely better off just sitting in and trying to get these laps ticked away.
And this is what's going to be a little bit concerning for these drivers, is look at that, side by side as they go on through. That's Steve Janssen in 27th on the recovery, jumping through Henri Michaela without too many dramas. There you can see Brad Newman on the back of that pack as well, trying to get back through as well. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. Guy Leach as well, looks like he's got a few panels bumped and banged down the inside of Michaela here on the brakes, and that is a very, very nice move. And that's Clint Shane Smith off the road there, just in front. So Clint Shane Smith, oh, it's going to be close at the corner. Hettershide's going to find a way around the outside. And now here comes Preston trying to get in on this as well. So what happened to Clint Shane Smith? We'll see after this all gets sorted out. So on the brakes into Stowe, has the inside line, but ultimately has to fall back. So let's get a motion simulation replay. What on earth happened, Nick, to Clint Shane Smith?
Yeah, I was looking. I think they were coming into the loop almost three wide at one stage. So yeah, you can see Clint coming up on in between the two in front, and just as they come in the chapel, it is a wide track, but yeah, definitely not that wide, and yeah, very unfortunate there for Clint Shane Smith.
It's a tough place there going through turn number 4. Kenneth Latter on the inside, McMillan on the outside, and 3 into 1 still makes -2 as McMillan right now still stuck behind the beaten and bashed up car of Kenneth Latter, new to the Exto Gaming team, left Mark 1 only a handful of weeks ago, and now will be looking to try and really make sure that the outfit starts to fit, so to speak, at the moment as he tries to push forward. But this is one of the issues that he has, staying with the car in front. That's Christian Smart, in front of Latter. But there goes Thomas McMillan, a driver who, if he gets his head screwed on correctly on certain days, he can be right up there at the front of the field. It's been a long time since we've seen that, and McMillan takes the time to dive down into the pits on lap 7, which is early for a stop.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's not going to drop him too far back, so we'll see how he goes with taking tyres and fuel, but probably a wise decision trying to get that overlap. We have seen in a few of the development races earlier last week, getting that overlap has paid off. This is a track that does help out with that.
Exactly, and when it's so difficult to get overtakes happening, you've got to be pretty much on it. Front 5 remain within 1.6 seconds of the race lead overall here, with Jordan Caruso leading every lap at the moment. But the Trans-Tasman boys, Maloney and Down, they're going to be talking with each other, working together, working out, okay, what's the strategy here? We've got 2 vehicles here in second and in third, knowing that Jordan Caruso cannot save fuel at the same rate, going out there at the front, punching the hole through the air. That's the worry that the Evolution Racing Team driver will have, and it will mean that he will have to come in, surely, a lap or 2 earlier than those behind.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just looking at the timing sheets now, it is Andrew Dyson seems to be holding up that pack behind him. So, yeah, this lead pack of 5 are just putting in those tenths. There's only a tenth or 2 each lap, but yeah, being 40 laps, each little amount makes a difference.
Exactly, and this is what these drivers will be looking for, just trying to play the strategy game. Brad Newman comes in on lap 8 with the damage that he sustained from that major impact at the back end of lap 1 starts lap 2. I'm not surprised. Here looks Tom Freer on Kenneth Latter now, trying to find a way through in the Pursuit Sim Racing outfit. Tough qualifying today for Tom. It's so condensely packed that any small mistake really does get capitalised on by about half the field to go on through. And Freer again stuck behind Latter, but look at that, talking about corks in the bottles, that's about a 10-car train back behind Kenneth Latter. Here comes Freer to the inside, down the hanger straight. Of course, it's a former airfield circuit, and just like that, in it goes. And that was very heavily defended there on Dan Hettershide, knowing that Latter had to try and shut the door early.
Yeah, I'm sure Latter can see Christian Smart and Josh Morris just pulling away. So, yeah, very wise. Header shot with contact there. So, yeah, it does look like Keith Latter is holding up that train. and wanting to get past.
Yep, that's Kenneth Latter. In comes Clint Shane Smith then to make his stop in the AOC-sponsored CSE Sports car. So that's doing wonders here in terms of his race. He'll try and get himself in line. This is Blake Purdy, though, in the pursuit car in 10th place. Young talent, someone who is expected to get better and better as time goes on in that pursuit outfit. He's got Thomas Hinz just in front. So the question becomes, can Blake find what he needs to gain another position? I have a feeling today that as we head to the 1/4 stage in this race, this is all about strategy here today. And can you put yourself in that next one place? The top 10 still only split by 5.5 seconds overall in this race.
Yeah, and just watching that clock now, who's going to pull in, who's going to and try and get that overlap. They all seem to be following each other quite well on this end. Yeah, McMillan back in. There was a bit of commotion over the radio chat, so there potentially may have been a bit of contact there. But as well as Steve Jansen back in, had a pretty unfortunate race incident on lap 1.
So Steve Jansen dives down into the pits, not ideal at all, and this is going to be something worth keeping in mind. It is a short lap around here, so it will be long in terms of stops because they have to take the fuel, they have to take the tyres, and it's not as quick as, say, a Formula 1 style pit stop where you're going to go on through. Look at Adam Briggs, though, just in front. We were eyes on Hinz, and that was right there in the drow distance. Myers trying to defend this one here, and they're going to be holding each other up if they continue like this. Holden versus Mustang as they go on the brakes into turn number 8, and just like that, Myers on the inside holds the place as Madison Down dives down into the pits, I do believe, to come in and make a stop. So that's key. Lap 10 decided to make the call, and this will trigger everybody else to now run down through like dominoes.
Yeah, Madison Down, he is going to risk it because not forgetting that track temperature is absolutely steaming hot. You could nearly cook an egg on it. So Madison Down will be, in the later stages of these races, will be definitely disadvantaged, Jake.
Exactly, but the key is getting that undercut, which is, of course, getting fresher tyres, putting in quick laps, and then going out and making it happen. At the moment, Jordan Caruso will be looking, going, well, will I need to make an overtake in this race? He still has to try and cover off Jake Maloney as up out of the pits goes Madison Down. It's almost like a sunk-in pit stop right now, and Madison's got nice clean air, but has a Thomas McMillan who's a lap down in front, so that's going to be a little bit of a point for sore contention for Madison Down. And Jordan Caruso, by the looks of things, has no choice, has to cover off the move by Madison Down, and the Panther Race Fuels car is down on the lane with Brady Myers in tow, and look how much Myers gained on the line.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of time to be gained. There is such a quick entry right into that pit lane limiter. So, yeah, great work there by Brady Myers in the Logitech Ultra sports car.
Absolutely. So we got there Brady Myers doing exactly what's needed. You can see there is the iRacing Porsche first safety car on the left-hand side. Won't be in use today, but they hit the brakes right now. They look for their markers, and what was key there was that Brady Myers was in his box and up on the jacks before Jordan Caruso was. This is Madison Down, though, heading through the final corner here of Club Corner on towards turn 1 at Abbey, of course, the former chicane, going to be going on through. Where are these drivers going to be coming out? The answer is, look at that, both ahead by a comfortable distance, and Myers, look at this, right behind Jordan Caruso. He mastered that stop.
Yeah, Brady Myers absolutely putting in a blinder, and it does look like he is going to try and push and get this move done on Caruso. Nice and early. You can see that absolute feedback from his car on those cold tyres.
In comes Blake Purdy then from 8th position at the time to go and make the stop, but Brady Myers was 2 seconds quicker on the lane, making that stop. So that made all the difference then in terms of that. He's taken lighter fuel loads here and will be just happy to sit in behind Jordan Caruso and just save the fuel and try and win the race that way. There's Madison Down just behind them right now, stuck by about a few tenths of a second. Brian Borg also down in onto the lane in the Premier Esports Racing Team Mustang right now. So that's going to be something very crucial as they go on by them all in the pits at the moment. But for the time being, Jordan Caruso now needs to use those tyres. Maloney will be staying out for a little while longer at least, as well as all of the DPR cars who are currently 2nd, 3rd and 4th right now.
Yeah, and just catching up on the timing screen. So they do have Guy Leach in front, and just saw a few more cars pull in there of Corey Shepherd and
Thomas Hinds.
Thomas Hinds in behind. So everyone wanting to get their stops in early. Does look like Jake Maloney and Adam Briggs are hanging it out and sticking it out in the front. Jake Maloney with almost 3.5 second lead, so he'll be, absolutely completely on his own at the moment. But all the action is happening down here, down the back.
And that's all that he needs to do is just concentrate, put some good laps in on the board, does Maloney. He's on a different strategy at the moment to those that he is racing against. And the longer that he stays out and goes on with it, he'll be look at the wheel work Brady Myers has to do. Going through the final corner, he was turning left into a right-hander. That's never useful, but Madison Down has not given up here. Just set the fastest lap of the race on a 104.1, which is only a couple of tenths off of the pole position time that was made. So crucially, Madison using the fresh tyres to get back into range, because look at all of this traffic now that they have to overtake for position right now down the inside of Brian Borg, and there is one right now for Caruso, and Myers is going to follow, and oh my goodness, Leach is in the grass.
Yeah, that was very great of Guy Leach to straighten it back up. He did have both wheels off in that grass.
Oh, look at this.
The 3 DPR, so you'd almost think that they are definitely chatting to each other and using a very similar strategy. But DPR having such a strong, as we see one of their other cars come down the Darren Lobb on header shot there. Just seeing these cars and the feedback as they come out of club corner there, very skinny tyres with a massive engine.
Exactly, and this is one of the big issues with dealing with this car. It is understeer and oversteer all at the same time, and it is a nightmare to try and pilot. And you say pilot with these vehicles because they are so tough to work with time and time again. On the brakes into the right-hander of turn number 3. Your net leaders come along at the moment, and they're doing well, but look at what they are stuck behind here. Michaela and also Hetterscheid and Lobb's battle at the moment. Now, Michaela will be a sore point of contention here after the incident last week. They'll maybe take a little bit of a wider berth. Caruso had no issues, maybe going to dive down the inside this time on the brakes, trying to prise open the door. Michaela leaves the room. Myers follows very, very comfortably just behind as we go on board. And look, yep, you're absolutely clear there, Mr. Myers, as now he hits the brakes, tries to go down at turn number 8, and oh, heavy over the curb, almost running straight into the back of Jordan Caruso.
Yeah, just watching them come out now. Be interesting to see what their lap time is, trying to thread the needle through this lap traffic here.
Well, it's not necessarily lap traffic, but it is traffic of a certain variety. They are fighting for position, so they are allowed to hold each other up. There are where the DPR cars have come out. There is one Mr. Briggs ahead of Andrew Dyson, and Philip Worley is the one who's lost out in all of the stop. Is now behind Corey Shepherd in terms of that little scrap. So a longer stop there. There's Jake Maloney, your race leader at the moment. Lap 16 of 40 yet to pit. Damien Johnstone there in second position. These have been some really good runs in the middle of the field, just staying quiet. You got Mitch Bolton and Jack Widders part of the same team. In comes Michael Rosenblatt, though, from that same outfit. They were 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the moment, so Rosenblatt first to jump. It's always a good idea to have the car last in the train to effectively be your guinea pig.
Yeah, actually, just catching on the timing screen as well. Madison Down putting in the fastest lap of the race as well with a 104.1. So just looking at Caruso and Myers, this lap traffic isn't slowing them up whatsoever. So they're absolutely shooting through the field. So aside from Madison Down putting in that fastest lap, the other two are the fastest on track at the moment.
Yes, but he's found a Darren Lobb, and that's not quite what he wants here at this stage, because he's got to try and get past the drivers. Look at this. Full bore at turn 2, on the brakes then through farm into the village, and at the village he says goodbye. I've watched you all the way from the Abbey, I've walked all the way through the farm, and well, I've got the move done at the village.
That was almost a handball, or you could say a lob from Darren Lobb there, so letting him going nice and wide, letting Madison Down through. So yeah, we're lining up for an absolute cracker between Caruso, Myers and Madison Down.
I think we're not even halfway through the race as of yet at this point in time. Into the pits then will come Jack Widders from 4th position, followed in by Kurt Stenberg. Stenny's going to make a stop. It's been a while. We haven't actually seen him really in this race. He's just been quietly getting on, plugging away at this stage as Caruso and co, your leaders, will be heading their way through and will gain a couple more places then in this field. That will jump them up to 7th and 8th at the moment, with all cars in front yet to make that stop going as long as possible. Now, this is key here for Jake Maloney. He's looking to try and use the fresh tyres that he gets coming out of the stop to really gain that advantage, and that could be massive here in this race if Maloney can chase in at a rate of 2/10, 3/10, even half a second a lap.
Yeah, that's it. And it really all is coming down to this strategy now as we see the leader pull in. Jake Maloney looked a little bit slow coming into that pit entry, so maybe just a little bit overcautious, not wanting to get a penalty there.
Absolutely not, but you can see right now just how slow it is going over the line and looking towards the pit box. Jake Maloney in car number 2. That indicates he has the second highest iRating in this field. Madsen Down, of course, is number 1 overall. He has the most iRating and is absolutely flying. So that puts Mitchell Bolton then to the front of the pack. And here comes Jordan Caruso as Myers has lost so much time. He's had a mistake somewhere out on circuit, and that's brought Madsen Down back into the fight. We'll see where one Mr. Maloney comes out. He's going to be behind everyone, but not by as much as we were expecting here as he gets back out onto track then as he goes on through. Side by side actually with the car on the left-hand side. That's Darren Lobb. That wasn't part of the script, but ultimately gets ahead as they go on through. But let's try and catch a motor simulation replay here, because something definitely happened to Brady Myers.
So we're just queuing up a replay now, a motor simulation replay. Yeah, he was right on the back there of Caruso, so potentially through turn 3, yeah.
Well, we're going to stay on board with this then. So this is Brady Myers heading through turn 9 at the Vale corner, and now Club, double apex right, always trying to put the power down as early as possible. You can see he pushes out wide and loses a little bit of time there on the outside, but in towards turn number 1. This is a very, very ferocious corner. So easy just to push out wide and understeer at that section in through 2, and now on the brakes at 3. What happens here as he hits the brakes and goes on through? Right now he has no real dramas at this point, so heading through 4, and it must be at 5, a tough corner, and well, there you can see it. He's going to sail to the outside, and it was all fine and dandy for that time being. So we've got a whole lap on board here with Brady Myers. Haven't quite seen what's gone wrong, so it's had to have been in this corner here potentially at Stowe on the brakes into the right, and he's just very slow there to get himself on the brakes into the corner, almost like he missed the gear or something, or maybe a slow down penalty.
Yeah, he did run a quite wide there out of Chapel, and potentially might have got out on the grass and picked himself up a penalty there. So yeah, that's reeled in Madsen Down along that back straight there.
Certainly has. Almost everybody now, if not everybody, has come in and made a stop of some description. Darren Lobb, Henri Michaela, both yet to come down in. So in comes Darren Lobb on cue to make a stop. Jordan Caruso, now your race leader once again, but the gap is 2 seconds at the front of the train at this moment in time. So Brady Myers with work to do then to bring this gap back down. It is Madsen Down 3rd, Jake Maloney on the back of this in 4th place, and this is the scrap for 10th place at the moment. Philip Worley has found a way through on Corey Shepherd in the Premier Racing Team Mr. Antenna car, and at the moment it seems like Corey Shepherd needs to try and find a way back through on the DPR car, because as things stay like this, that's 3 DPR cars in the top 10.
Yeah, DPR having a very good showing, so Corey Shepherd's just slipped himself out there of that top 10.
And Jake Maloney, I've just got an eye on this, is up into 3rd place, has traded places with Madsen Down.
Just catching
on replay.
Yeah, so motor simulation replay there of just seeing him come through turn 3 there as they come on to Chapel.
I think it's going to be a very basic move here, Nick, as you can see, getting on the power. You can see has fresher tyres, has the ability to attack, moves to the inside and hits the brakes, lets him go, and almost like the end-or brake manoeuvre, some would say, hits the brakes, lets you go, I'll attack from behind.
Yeah, that's it. Just looking back at Corey Shepherd now, so such a great battle between these two, the two Mustangs. Oh, big slide there from Philip Worley there.
Big slide, but ultimately enough to hold place at the moment. Won't be doing the tyres any good, sliding the vehicle around, but sometimes you have to drive on the rears in this style of vehicle. And someone who is, of course, fantastic at driving on the rear of this car, Shane van Gisbergen, as he likes his expression sessions and things that go on of that ilk. But for the time being, Corey Shepherd here, still behind Philip Worley, can't quite find the right way to make the move through and is just comfortably sitting and waiting, hoping that the chance will come up. There's 17 laps to go as they continue on with this run, as at the moment we have only one retirement from this race out of the 30 cars who started, and that one being Brad Newman in the One Performance Racing team.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Brad Newman. So that was that incident on the front straight just as they went over lap 2. So yeah, we're now over the halfway point for race distance, Jake.
Absolutely, and of course being over that half distance, it's now a case of consolidating your battle. Who are you next to? What are you doing? Where are you with? That's where drivers are going to be looking at, and I want to keep a focus on second position just for the moment, because all of a sudden Jake Maloney is using those tyres with aplomb at this stage. Myers pushing slightly wide, coming out there of that corner. We'll have to look at where Jake Maloney is. He's not going to defend it into turn 8. Resistance, my friend, is futile, and Jake Maloney is up to second. 2 seconds to chase Jordan Caruso.
Yeah, Brady Myers appearing a little bit defeated there, so yeah, not going too defensive on that, going nice and wide and looking like he just letting him through there.
Well, here's Josh Morris on the Motum Simulation replay, heading through turn number 3 without too many dramas. And anti-cut curb at 4. Big moment for Morris, and he goes off to Narnia and back as he finds himself all the way at Beckett's corner.
Yeah, their supercars are very stiff with a very low ride height there, so yeah, well.
And more contact as Morris gets dumped to the outside as Darren Lobb finds a way through and gains another position. So, just like that, Josh Morris has gone from bad to worse at this stage in terms of how he's running. There's your race leader right now, Jordan Caruso. 2 seconds of margin. The gap hasn't come down over the course of this lap. Catches a little bit of curb, pops up the car on 2 wheels slightly, and of course you've got to be very cautious about going up on 2 wheels in these sorts of vehicles. But you can see in that final corner alone, 0.3 if not 0.2 of a second get chopped off by Jake Maloney, who will be trying to use all of the tyre life in the remaining 15 laps. Close down 1.8 seconds. That's roughly just over 1/10 a lap needed.
Yeah, that's Jake Maloney on an absolute blinder at the moment. So he really is just chipping away at that lead of Jordan Caruso. So he only needs about another half a second, about 6 or 7 more tenths, and he will be under that in that draft. Even though it's not a massive draft, absolutely every little bit counts.
Absolutely, and we're seeing right now how Jordan Caruso is trying everything to break away, but he's got nothing. Maloney's reeling him in 10th by 10th. Every single lap, it seems at the moment, the gap down to 1.5 seconds. That's 0.3 already on this lap alone by Jake Maloney. But what can the Evolution Racing Team stalwarts now try and find and do? We've got other great battles up and down the order as well. Want to get an attention on 6th place, if that's possible at the moment, because this is Andrew Dyson. Look at the car behind. Blake Purdy, 0.4 only for the Pursuit Sim Racing Team.
Yeah, that's right. Just catching them now as they come on the straight. So yeah, just 5/10 separating Andrew Dyson and Blake Purdy as they come through Abbey, heading towards Village Corner.
On the brakes at turn number 3, not close enough yet to make a move, but this is what's really tough about this place, is that if you're not in position, you're playing setup time and time again through every single corner, and that becomes a nightmare to try and pick everything up. You can see going up through the gears, now going to hit 5th gear. Right now is Blake Purdy, and he's trying to stay in that draft as he goes on through to get a nice look from behind him on the camera. On the brakes, spot your brake marker and go on through into the right. But this corner is surprisingly tough. If you just ever so slightly funnel out wide, it's so difficult to gather the car back up again.
Yeah, there is a really big runoff there through Stowe, but yeah, you can end up with a penalty, so you've got to keep it in tight.
Well, this is Philip Worley we're seeing on the Motum Simulation replay. Was ahead of Corey Shepherd as they were heading on down through, and it looks like Philip Worley still has the position at the moment, so it seems like they are okay. There was no change of position there, so they've sort of half duped our director here at the moment here today, ladies and gentlemen. But Mitch Bolton's not going to be trying to dupe anything. He's trying to get past his teammate in Michael Rosenblatt. No team orders here. You will fight, and look at this. 3 cars all in a line. The only way you can distinguish them is by the wheel rims at the moment, because you can see there's Mitch Bolton in the nice bright baby blue trying to find a way through.
Yeah, I was just catching on my screen before these 3 absolutely getting the elbows out, so definitely no team orders, and you'd almost only think they'll be slowing each other up with their little battles and diving down the inside of each other.
Well, you can see it's Kurt Stenberg in front of them, but look at this dive down the inside. Thomas Hinds under pressure from Damien Johnstone, 8th and 9th. The Gone Road car against the Ra2. Oh, door has to be closed there through the second part of Club Corner, heading towards turn number 1. They start their 28th lap of the race on the brake, slightly in towards turn number 1. You can't go flat, and that is down into the pits. Jack Widders again. He was right on the back of that battle, so unless he's under-fueled the car, or maybe this is a 2-stop strategy race that we're looking at, that's not ideal.
Yeah, you can actually get away with the pit lane so short, and where you enter, it is possible to get a 2-stop strategy there, but I'd be a bit confused to see why he'd want to do that for this race.
Well, keep an eye on all these gaps that are starting to form. Johnstone close at the moment here to Mr. Thomas Hinds, but again, can't quite get there. Eyes on the race lead, though, for a moment, because look at that gap. It has careened down 0.6 of a second now. The margin here for Jake Maloney and Jordan Caruso right now. This is a test of mettle. Knows that Maloney's quicker, but has to have the widest car in all of the British Isles.
I'd almost figured that potentially Caruso might have made a mistake on that last lap, because he was almost very close to a second off the pace there. So possibly that pressure just of Maloney just seems to be chipping away at him there.
And this is the worry that Caruso will have. He's got to try and hold off Jake Maloney as long as possible before those tyres effectively cure here, Nick, and they start to equal out in terms of how much grip level they have. This is the worry that Maloney has. Will he have used all his tyre life getting up to the back, as in comes Josh Morris for a second pit stop down on the lane? Is it a case of getting right up to the rear and finding an opportunity to get through? Or is this going to be a case of just sitting, waiting and hoping that this one is all going to play out? By the fact that they all pitted very, very early, this could be slightly worrying here for the late stages of the race. They go on to lap 30. There's 11 laps to go, and the gap around about 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, just trying to see some of the feedback from the cars there as they go through turn 1. So Maloney very, very confident on what he's got, driving very smoothly as well. As you can see, Caruso sliding there into that corner there, so potentially overdriving now with that pressure from behind. This could definitely chew up his tyres in the last 10 laps that we have.
Exactly, and that's key. Look at Thomas Hinds still holding off Damien Johnstone in the Gone Road car, heading through turn number 4 as they go on through. So Widders and Morris have both retired the car out of this race. So those weren't second stops, those were retirements as they came down onto the lane. We kept an eye on it. Gap down half a second now between Caruso and Maloney. Maloney has been tearing up his iRacing over the last couple of weeks. You can see that big number 2 on the vehicle. He has been farming. He has been searching to try and boost his rating up towards that 7K mark, that 8K mark that one Mr. Madison Down has. And of course, something to keep in mind, talking about 8K drivers, you're effectively top 100 in the world if you have 8,000 iRating.
Yeah, what an absolute achievement of that. There's the service has been so popular, especially over the break, and to get that 8,000 would be an absolute blast.
Absolutely it would, but now on the brakes down the hill, a couple of tenths of a second there, just slipping away for Jake Maloney in that middle sector, which is starting to favour Jordan Caruso here as they go on forward, and they can see behind Madison Down has caught to the back of Brady Myers in 3rd position. The podium definitely not safe, but The issue here for Brady is, what's the fuel situation like? Remember, he was 2 seconds lighter on his stop compared to everybody else around him.
Yeah, even with Brady Myers getting that fast stop, and he is a few positions up from where he qualified, as we just catching on screen of Corey Shepherd. Oh, very close there on the tail there of Philip Worley. So unfortunately not being able to get that move to stick. So what I was saying, so Brady Myers, yeah, so he's a few positions up from where he's qualifying, but he just doesn't seem to have the pace of the other three at the moment.
And that's key here for Brady Myers. He's having to lift and close, I think, ever so slightly in terms of this battle. So we're going to see right now, where does this all feed out? He'll be having to push now, not necessarily lift and coast as much as he used to because of the fact that Madison Down's right there. And not a million miles away, just a second and a half back. Remember, he's got fresher tyres than these two in front. Adam Briggs is not out of the mix for a podium.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Adam Briggs seems to be chipping away at the moment. Yeah, on the last lap was one of the quickest ones. So Adam Briggs with maybe a bit of a late show coming up.
And this could be crucial. Not long left to go here in this race. The front battles for the race win, for the podium, definitely not settled at this stage. Madison Down gets a glorious run coming through Club Corner, and now he's going to try and set this one up. Turn 3 seems the best place to make the move. Turn 1 is not necessarily a corner conducive in these vehicles for finding an overtake. Through turn 1, 1/10 of a second only. Through 2 though, Myers putting on the power, a little bit of that dirty air effect coming in. Not much, but enough, meaning that Madison has to lift out of it, can't put the car into the place that he wants. And of course, you have to remember, these vehicles have very high noses, these Holdens, those two Holdens that are battling, so they're not going to really know where their front end is compared to the cars in front.
Yeah, I was thinking if Madison Down was going to try and get that run down the hangar straight as we're going now, but yeah, just buying his time at the moment. So he does know that potentially a first or second position might be just that little bit too far away in the closing laps that we've got now, but definitely a podium will be on his mind.
Exactly, 7 laps to go at the line as they are going to go and cross, and suddenly right now you feel that Brady Myers is just keeping the car as wide as possible. Number 3 on the side there, indicating that that is exactly where he needs to be. It's always talked about when you go into an iRacing official race that you have to try and beat your number to gain the iRacing you want. And at the moment, Myers is matching that number, and you can't do much better when you're number 3 in the session. On the brakes through the right at the village corner, and not again another chance to make a move. It's more waiting for Madison Down, who's just slightly dropped back a little bit here, maybe trying to save the engine ever so slightly, just cool it down, go for another concerted effort a couple of laps into the future. Jordan Caruso, though, has put in the laps of his life at the moment because he's kept that gap from 0.7 of a second up now to almost a second.
Yes, Jordan Caruso finding a little bit of late pace now, so not forgetting he does have almost 7 laps difference between himself and Jake Maloney when it comes to tyres, but as we're just catching now, yeah, Brady Myers and Madison Down coming through club there, around just clipping that apex there. Absolutely perfection there by Brady Myers, running it nice and wide as they cross the line.
Perfection, but it needs 6 more of those perfection laps to try and make sure that the finish line is in sight. Adam Briggs cannot match the pace that these two are running at because they are forcing each other to go faster and faster here in this one. Look at this nose to tail stuff as the Logitech G Ultra C Sports car tries to get through, tries to defend, against the Virtual Racing School Trans-Tasman Racing Machine that is just behind, trying to get on through, trying to find that one little place that makes everything work out at the moment, and it's just not happening at this stage. They will stay as they are for the moment. Drivers in the top 10 who have done well. Blake Purdy, Damian Johnstone, Thomas Hinds has had a great run. Andrew Dyson as well has done quite well over the course of this race. And this is that battle going on for 10th and 11th. Corey Shepherd refusing to yield, but catching's one thing, passing very much another.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few movers up the timing screen. So also Brian Berg, Kurt Stenberg and Christian Smart all over 10 positions up as well. So really great showing and managing to get it to stick. Just watching.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry, Jake.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, we're just watching Philip Worley and Corey Shepherd. So yeah, we've only got a few laps coming up now. So Corey Shepherd, can he get it done on Philip Worley? I'm just checked to see how they're going tyres wise. I think they're pretty well evenly matched.
And that's going to be a little bit concerning here. It will have to be done through skill rather than strategy as they fight for the top 10 with 4.5 of their laps remaining in this race. Caruso with a 1 second margin at the front. Myers holding 3/10 over Madison down, and other battles going on. Dyson and Purdy within 0.4 of a second, and Thomas Hinz here right now has just lost the place to Damian Johnstone just in front. So Johnstone through now up into 8th place as we're going to catch a Motum Simulation replay of how that one all came about. So there's Thomas Hinz. He runs wide through the corner. That wouldn't have been very helpful, but what happens here as he goes on through, you can see he's lisking over to the right-hand side, and in fact, he gets a slowdown penalty for going far too far wide there on the exit of the corner, just like that. That's a position gone. It happens, blink of an eye.
Yeah, and especially in a point where you don't want to slow down either. You can't really make it up in a braking zone or anything, so coming onto the straight, yeah.
Oh, and that's Purdy. We're just seeing Blake Purdy has gone around right in front of these drivers. We were focusing on Worley and Shepherd, so that's not ideal. Motum Simulation replay was right at the clutch point, was fighting it out with one Mr. Andrew Dyson for 6th place in this one overall, and you can see this is going to try and be brave from Blake as he dives for the inside. It's late. He got to the apex, but the door was always closing at a corner, which is so inviting for overtake. Dyson has a bit of issues as well, and then effectively shuts the door down on Johnstone, and Thomas Hinz finds a way through on the inside. So that one all going on, but look at how Maloney over the last lap has just suddenly bided his time and has decided, okay, time for the showdown. This is where the lights are. Spotlight, time for my moment.
What an absolute class act there by Jake Maloney, because, yeah, as we were seeing, if only a few laps ago he was over a second, so he's pulled those like almost 6-7 tenths back, right on the back of now of Jordan Caruso. So just conserving the very last bit of his tyres and his fuel, and he's at maximum attack now.
This is just like patience boxing. This is like Floyd Mayweather style of racing, down to the inside for the race lead with 2 and a bit laps to go. Gets a little slide through the corner. He's got the tyre life, but Caruso leans on him slightly. Now they go to the next section, and again, it's a case of well defended. Oh, the rear's locked up. Contact between them. Caruso holds it together. Now they're starting to fight hard. This will bring Myers and Down in with 2 to go.
Yeah, this will feel like the longest 2 minute of the laps now. So, yeah, Caruso just hit running into the back of him there. So a little bit of a late break, but thankfully not having to redress any positions there.
Well, this is all about now who wants it more. Angles for the inside. Can he slow it up? He can, but that outside parabola works again here for one Mr. Jordan Caruso. Everything is seemingly working at the moment, but the hanger straight. Look at that gap. It's down to a second now. Brady Myers, look how much they're costing each other.
Yeah, they've absolutely ejected Brady Myers right into the back of this 3 car. So not only will Caruso have to deal with Maloney, but now he'll have Myers as well in his rearview mirrors.
Oh, absolutely. And look at that. Big lunge down the inside. It was wide from Jordan Caruso. Was that a mistake? We'll have to defend the inside now here. Coming into turn 8 and on the brakes. Has he got enough to shut the door? Yes, he does. Just enough. So now Maloney, it's a 4-car scrap for the race win. There's Madison down in 4th. Myers back into this one as well. White flag lap comes up here for the iRacing V8 Supercar race here at Silverstone International. Caruso finally getting what he wants here, and that is Myers attacking Maloney now. That's going to give him a little bit of breathing room as they head in towards turn number 3 down at the village. But we know that Maloney has got so much tyre to use at this stage. Caruso has just got to hold on at this stage. Down the hill, the hanger straight is the prime place to get it done, but it's a good run from everyone down this section. You can see it right now as they head down the hangar under the Johnny Walker Bridge, looking towards the next right. There is 4 car lengths at least here for Jordan Caruso as he jams on the brakes into the right. This is going to have to be a late lunge if you're going to get this one, Mr. Maloney, because now it's going to have to be defended as they go on through on the brakes then into the next left, and there's nothing left here in terms of Maloney unless he searches here, but there's no room at the end. Jordan Caruso has had to really stave off the challenge late, and he wins here at Silverstone.
Absolute pearler there by Caruso. So you'd nearly think if Maloney leaving his lunge maybe a little bit too early, but what an absolutely fantastic battle here at Silverstone.
Wow. Just wow. That was hard fought. Maloney had the chance and it ultimately just didn't happen. Still got battles towards the end. Smart and Preston, and Preston's been turned. Tom Freer's giving him a turn. I think he's going to redress that one then as he goes on through. Tom's a nice guy, and Corey Preston, well, he'll get the place back, but ultimately he will lose a place for his troubles in terms of all of that one happening here. Still battles towards the end. Latter and Hetterscheid here going at it with Henri Michaela just behind them, and they're going to all line up exactly how they are as they go on through the final section of road. So they come over the line, and there's not much you can do about that. A little bit of damage there to the 111 esports car there on the front right of that machine. That's not going to be too good at all. But official classified results then from Silverstone are going to be up on your screen. This is how everything has finished then from this fantastic Silverstone race. And, well, Jordan Caruso, what can you say? 40 laps worth of hard graft and toil, and he wins by just over half, or just under half a second ahead of Jake Maloney in second. The fresher tyres were not enough to get by in the end, with Brady Myers in third and Madison Down in fourth place overall. The reigning champion he is at the moment. Adam Briggs and Andrew Dyson bring the DPR cars fifth and sixth overall in this one, with Thomas Hinds in 7th, capitalising on Damian Johnstone being blocked late on with a handful of laps to go. Blake Purdy was the victim in that, spun around but still got 9th place, with Philip Worley having to battle hard to stay in 10th.
Just missing out on the outside of that top 10. So Corey Shepard in 11th, Brian Borg and Kurt Stenborg doing absolutely excellent. They were outside the top 20, and so in 12th and 13th. Michael Rosenblatt, Mitchell Bolton, Christian Smart, Steve Jansen having a few accidents there out on track. Corey Preston, Tom Freer, and Clint Shane Smith rounding out the top 20.
Jansen's done well to recover back to 17th place, actually. It was a great run from him. Kyle George is 21st with Darren Lobb in at 22nd. We saw Hetterscheid, Latter and Michaela all make the push over the line late. The last finisher on the leading lap was Guy Leach in at 26th place. Thomas McMillan finished the race one lap down with his own share of escapades, with Josh Morris, Jack Widders and Brad Newman all retiring the car from the event here today. Only 3 retirements around this place through 40 laps, I think, is a good showing for the field today. But ultimately, that was a hard-fought race that every driver was looking at and was hoping that it was not going to run into troubles. But, Nick, you know, this season has just produced great racing again and again and again, and it looks like it's going to be just the same when we go on towards 1 week's time.
Yeah, that's it. So keeping it in Europe, keeping it in the UK, we've got Alton Park coming up next week, Jake.
Ooh, I actually like that. That's a fantastic track. Seldom used on the iRacing service. It's the island layout as well, so that's something worth keeping in mind. And one of the few reasons that Alton Park doesn't see as much use on the iRacing service is just mainly because it doesn't have the luxury of having 50 grid stalls there. It's only got 36, so it's really, you see some really niche and close racing when you go to a track like Alton Park. So that's where we're going to be in 1 week's time. But a massive thanks to those who get it done for us. Of course, to Motum Simulation, who have been on the replays for us once again. And of course, to the iRacing Esports Network for giving us the platform to go out here and give you some brilliant racing. You can catch all of the partners every single day of the week, be that RaceSpot TV, the Global Sim Racing Channel, Apex Racing TV, or even LSR TV and Podium Esports. You really want to try and check this place out. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. From Jay Kennedy behind the cameras, Nick Skarajev alongside me, I've been Jake Sperry. Caruso has picked up 2 straight wins, and it's 2 wins where he's had to work for it, and suddenly he's starting to find himself the form that makes him one of the most dangerous drivers in the field to race against. If this continues, we're looking at the birth of a brand new superstar when it comes to this vehicle. The establishment has been rocked, and well, it's Alton Park next time out. So, will it be 3 in a row, or will it be another case of British blues for those who have been looking behind? We'll see you in 1 week at Alton Park.
This is fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?